My opinion on relationships part 2. In the previous video, I mentioned and solely focused on the environment of a person playing a huge role in how they would treat their partner entirely. I also mentioned points such as music, friends, and the household that they live in. This is a continuation of that video, and I'm going to cover more points that I forgot to add. Feel free to go back and watch part 1, I highly recommend it, and to also understand the points I mentioned. Anyways, going on to my first opinion, well, technically my fourth, is communication. I'm sure if you had relationship problems in the past, all you've heard is communication, but it really is one of the most important things that you must consider. My main point that I'm trying to get across is to not communicate through text when you're having any relationship problems. The reason I say this is because of the fact that you can't really see the emotions that your partner is conveying at this moment, so sometimes you can misconstrue how they really are feeling, which can ultimately lead to more relationship drama and maybe even a possible breakup. So it is extremely important that if you and your partner are having any relationship disputes, that you man up or woman up and speak face to face about it. I know it might be extremely difficult to face your partner in these situations with these problems, but in order to have a healthy, long-sustaining relationship, you have to mature up and face these problems together instead of being against each other. Moving on, my second opinion is to spend your time with your partner and friends wisely. I myself has dealt with this problem before, and it ended up making me lose all my friends in the process. I ended up spending so much time with my partner that I lost all my friends. Until this day, I barely even speak to them anymore. So I truly advise to spend your time more smartly when you're with your partner. For an example, I would spend like 2 hours with them on call and later on play games with my friends. It's also very important to not overspend your time with your friends or your partner, as having an equilibrium between the two is the best case. But you also don't want to completely ignore your partner and play games with your friends all day. Checking up with them once every while is a good way to balance time between you and your partner. Another one of my opinions is about Snapchat. It's a very silly claim, but I believe it to be true. On Snapchat, you can add a multitude of individuals, people who are mutuals or people who are close friends. But what I believe to be wrong is the fact that you can add people very easily just from a click of a button. I've seen people with hundreds and probably thousands of people added that they don't know personally. And all it takes is one person to slide into your partner's DMs just to entertain them. But I'm not saying all the people that slide into your partner's DMs is a bad person who's trying to hit on them. But the majority of Snapchat users are widely centered around the hookup culture that infects us today. Which brings me to my next topic of how romance is as dead as that guy just unslammed. I don't want to sound like a grandpa mentioning how good the old times were, but I believe that to be true. As I mentioned earlier, modern dating is infected with hookup culture, and it really sucks to see that. And it's not just Snapchat that allows people to easily add and hook up with others, but instead it's other dating apps such as I've heard about like Wiz, which is for teens. That's crazy. Like if the wrong people have that in their hands, that could be really bad. But modern dating is just generally atrocious. You truly just have to find the right person that you're destined to be with in life. And now I'll let my friend Josh tell his opinions.
I want to take a minute to expand on one of my friend's sayings of interpersonal relationships. It can be a very hard thing to manage, and the main thing that you should have completely on lock and manage is your own feelings, because what can happen a lot of times is you can feel discouraged and often just throw yourself under the bus, or put yourself metaphorically in front, at least your feelings in harm's way, just to preserve the others, which is not a great way to live, because ultimately in a relationship, it's been a factor between the both of you guys. Both of you guys care for each other. You both look out for each other's feelings. I'm not saying this just as a blatant statement. I'm saying this from the past experiences I've had. I've currently been in 3 relationships. I recently got out of a third, about 16 months, because of a lack of codependency. Well, I had a lack of codependency. She had a lack of being independent, which hopefully she can grow on herself as we have time apart. I don't want to say indefinitely, because truthfully I believe that only God knows, and that I just have to trust His plan. But I will say this, with previous ones though, is that a lot of times I had neglected my own feelings just to keep the relationship steady, if that makes sense. To keep it all nice, nice and, for seem perfect on the outside, just to people walking by, people see that, oh, that's a cute couple, But truthfully, especially with my last one, my feelings were kind of just shot down in the gutter and disregarded, which is a terrible way to live and a terrible way to just have a relationship, because at that point, it's hardly a relationship. It's more of just like doing chores for somebody, in a way, a more metaphorical but not radical form of like being a literal, slave to another person. There's one little key concept that I did learn from my church. I understand that a lot of the people listening might not be any form of religious or have any belief systems, which if that's you, completely understand, but I just do want to share this because I do feel it could be relevant. And that would be that dating is not marriage. A lot of times, people often find themselves in a relationship, and they will see it as, okay, we gotta say, we gotta be very, not to go down a rabbit hole, but we gotta be very there for each other, very locked and very intimate to an extent. But all of the legalities and just the strains that a relationship has do not have to be the same of a marriage. In fact, they're not. You don't have to treat every relationship like it's your last one, like that's my forever person, especially if you're in a situation like me. Personally, I'm recently done with high school, which is, nowhere near anywhere getting married in my life. And you shouldn't think that either. Relationships are not marriage. You're not bound to anything. I'm not saying you should treat it as having fun, but you shouldn't treat it like it's a lifelong commitment to a single person. They might bring you joy now, and they definitely will, and you definitely could give them the same back. It's an equal exchange, but you don't have to treat it so, you don't have to be so codependent on the other person that you lose yourself to it. There's several reasons for why relationships can't work out, but what shouldn't be neglected is your own self-worth and your own self-love for yourself. As much as that sounded like a run-on, it's truthful. If you can't love yourself, you shouldn't be loving anybody. At least romantically. I do want to preface one last time that dating is not marriage. And if you have that philosophy, then I'm sorry, but you're definitely going to be in for some disappointment. Marriages that are endowed in matrimony are meant for people who have had much longer life experiences than, most of the people listening. There'll definitely be times in a relationship where you'll just love somebody, and then the next day you can kind of feel a little irritated or just very annoyed by them for no apparent reason, it can seem. And that's completely normal, because it's a relationship, and communication often is disregarded and not even considered. But ultimately, finding who you are can help you to find the person that's right for you. You can learn a lot from somebody, especially when they have very opposite interests and overall. Just, it's nice to have variety in the people that you talk to, and eventually you can find somebody that either is really like you, is nothing like you, and you ultimately can't find that until you find out who you are as a person. So I just want to preface one last time, not to get any preferences or not to get any too personal, as much as I know I already have. Relationships are not marriage. You shouldn't treat it like that. I don't know how many times I have to preface this, but truthfully, it's just a relationship. It's not a lifelong commitment. And the more that you treat it like it is, the more that it's just gonna go down the hill from you.
Anyways, thank you, Josh, for coming on and sharing your experiences and opinions. I appreciate it a lot. This will be the last video on the my opinions on relationship niche, but expect to see more videos on different topics. Thank you for watching to the end. Be safe and good night, y'all.